Good afternoon. This is Steve Lookner with Right Side Broadcasting coming to you with some breaking news. Health Secretary Tom Price has resigned. This happened about 15 minutes ago. This news is just coming in. About an hour or two ago, President Trump had said before he got onto Marine One, he had met with reporters and answered a couple questions, and he had said he was going to decide tonight whether to fire Tom Price. But Tom Price, the Secretary of Health and Human Services, has resigned. Let me make sure you can hear me. Seems like you can. Good. And this is in the aftermath of the, I don't know if you want to call it a scandal, but the controversy over Tom Price taking a lot of chartered flights where some people said he could have taken commercial flights. And he had yesterday apologized for taking these chartered flights, said he would not take any more, said he would only fly commercial. So as of yesterday, it seemed like he was planning on staying on as the health secretary. And also, he did say he was going to pay back the money he spent on the chartered flights, but some people pointed out the amount he was paying back was just the cost of his seat and not the cost of the entire flight, which was much more than the actual seat cost. So this controversy was still going on today. President Trump said he was going to decide tonight whether to fire Tom Price. But as of right now, Tom Price is no longer the Secretary of Health and Human Services because he has resigned. Let me show you his statement here. And I am just reading this myself for the first time. We just heard this and we just got on the air. So I want to show you this statement here from the White House, actually, not from Tom Price. Oops, well, let me actually get it up on the screen here. There we go. Says, this is Sahil Kapoor's post. Secretary of Health and Human Services Thomas Price offered his resignation earlier today, I don't know how much earlier, and the president accepted. The president intends to designate Don J. Wright of Virginia to serve as acting secretary, effective at 11:59 p.m. on September 29th, 2017. Mr. Wright currently serves as the Deputy Assistant Secretary for Health and Director of the Office of Disease Prevention and Health Promotion. So very short statement there from the White House, not really telling us anything new there. We're going to see if we can get some more details on this. Also, if you have comments on this, please write in I am at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. Would love to hear your thoughts about this, and I'll read your comments on the air. So write to me at Lookner. Again, this is Right Side Broadcasting. And let me just see if I can get any more updates about this. So Politico has a story up. Let's look at Politico's story here. Politico says Price resigns from H&HS after facing fire for travel. His exit comes after Politico revealed his extensive use of private jets and military aircraft for government business. The article says HHS Secretary Tom Price resigned Friday in the face of multiple federal inquiries and growing criticism of his use of private and government planes for travel at a cost to taxpayers of more than $1 million since May. The White House said the former 7-term Georgia Congressman, 63, offered his resignation earlier in the day and that President Trump had accepted it. Price becomes the first Trump administration cabinet secretary to step down. The White House said Trump asked Deputy Assistant Health Secretary Don Wright to serve as acting secretary of the agency, which has an annual budget, blah, 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 blah. As late as yesterday, Price said he believed he had the president's support, but the tumult surrounding his travel became another distraction for an administration already reeling from the defeat of repeated Senate efforts to repeal Obamacare and facing criticism for its hurricane relief efforts in Puerto Rico. I don't know if those factored into this decision or not. Politico revealed in a series of articles that Price flew at least 26 times on private aircraft at a cost of hundreds of thousands of dollars, a sharp break with his predecessor's practice. Many of Price's flights were between major cities that offered inexpensive alternatives on commercial airlines, including Nashville, Philadelphia, and San Diego. On some of those trips, Price, an orthopedic surgeon, mixed official business with personal affairs. He took a government-funded private jet in August to get to St. Simon's Island, an exclusive Georgia resort where he and his wife own land. A day and a half before he addressed a medical conference he and his wife have long attended. In June, HHS chartered a private jet to fly Price to Nashville, where he owns a condominium and where his son resides. Price toured a medicine dispensary, spoke to a local health summit organized by a friend, and had lunch with his son, an HHS official confirmed. Price also used military aircraft for multinational trips to Africa, Europe, and Asia at a cost of more than $500,000 to taxpayers. The White House said it had approved those trips, but not the private jets within the United States. I'm not going to read the whole story, just going to read a couple more paragraphs here. Price tried to diffuse the controversy by promising on yesterday, to reimburse the government for the approximately $52,000 cost of his own seat on his domestic trips, but that wasn't enough to tamp down the scandal, which had infuriated President Donald Trump and prompted a bipartisan inquiry from the House Oversight Committee and separate calls for accountability from lawmakers, including Republican Senator Chuck Grassley. The Inspector General of Price's own agency is reviewing if Price complied with federal travel regulations. And, it gets a little interesting because, some other cabinet secretaries had been accused of some kind of similar flight stuff. So here it says in Politico, the issue of cabinet members' travel was also extending beyond Price. Politico reported Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke and his aides took several flights on private or military aircraft, including a $12,000 charter plane to take him to events in his hometown in Montana, and private flights in the Caribbean. Dismissed. That's weird. The dismissed the Führer is a little BS. It might be a typo here. This is a bit oddly written, this sentence. Well, but it's a new story. Maybe they'll correct it. I guess it means, is it Zinke dismissed the Führer as a little BS during a Friday appearance at the Heritage Foundation? Maybe that's what it's supposed to say. Okay, so we have here the story, Tom Price resigning. And it's quite interesting that, President Trump said just like an hour ago to reporters, I'm going to decide tonight whether to fire Tom Price. So one question that comes up is, did Tom Price resign right after he heard that? Or maybe right after President Trump said that, he spoke to Tom Price and said, like, hey, look, I'm going to give you a choice. I'm going to fire you, but you can resign if you want. Or maybe President Trump knew beforehand what was happening, but didn't feel he could tell it to the press at that time and wanted to wait for an official announcement. So don't know exactly what the timeline is here, but what we do know is that Health and Human Services Secretary Tom Price resigned today as secretary after this controversy over him taking lots of private and charter flights that were much more expensive than commercial flights would have been. So would love to get your feedback on this and your thoughts. I am at Lookner on Twitter, at Lookner. Write to me if you have any thoughts on this. By the way, thank you to Jerry OOOG. He made a donation. We really appreciate that. Your donations are what lets us come on the air and do news coverage like this. So if you enjoy our coverage, it's agenda-free. If you like having an alternative to the mainstream media to turn to for your breaking news, please consider making a donation. You can donate by going to the YouTube chat room and clicking on the $sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat room. It's right next to the broadcast. There's a little $sign at the bottom. Or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And be sure to know when we're coming on the air with these breaking news stories. Subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell. So I am just checking out here. I want to get some more news for you too. But again, write to me and let me know your thoughts on this. At Lookner on Twitter, would like to hear what you think about this story. I want to see if I can get some more updates here for you on this, because this story is just breaking right now. It's interesting, this is happening right now and everybody's covering it, but Ivanka Trump just posted wishing everyone an easy and meaningful fast, and may we all be inscribed in the Book of Life for Yom Kippur. And I guess she might have not had a choice to post it now because Yom Kippur begins at sundown. So if she wanted to post it before sundown, she needed to do that. We have a statement from Paul Ryan, Statement from Speaker Ryan on Secretary Tom Price. Tom Price is a good man. He has spent his entire adult life fighting for others, first as a physician and then as a legislator and public servant. He was a leader in the House and a superb health secretary. His vision and hard work were vital to the House's success passing our health care legislation. I will always be grateful for Tom's service to this country and, above all, his continued friendship. That is from Paul Ryan. And I should point out here, this was one of these things where it became a really big story the last few days in the mainstream media. Look, I actually tweeted out this morning, I was pretty surprised at how much attention was being paid to this. Not that no attention should be paid to it. Of course it should be reported. But the last couple days, when I would be channel flipping, I couldn't go past CNN without them talking basically about this Tom Price story, which to me, the mainstream media focus on it seemed excessive given its importance to Americans. I mean, you know, there are all these other stories out there. What's going on with North Korea? What's going on with the healthcare bill? You know, even Puerto Rico, I'd like to see more actual analysis rather than people kind of just saying, giving anecdotes about whether aid is coming or not coming. I'd like to see like actual detailed analysis where they get a roundtable of experts, say, on disaster relief and talk about the actual issues here. But I was just seeing so much Tom Price coverage. MSNBC and CNN this morning, blanket coverage about Tom Price. And again, not to say they shouldn't cover it. It's just, to me, it felt like one of those times to me where the amount of time being spent on a story was way out of proportion to its relative importance to Americans relative to other stories that are going on now. The tax plan, the tax reform bill, you could do some detailed reporting and analysis of that. But it just seemed to me that there was a lot of excessive, attention being paid on this in terms of in comparison to other stories that could have been covered. And but you know, maybe President Trump ultimately said it's not worth dealing with this the PR stuff. Well, but also President Trump, you know, he said he was very upset by it and he said it publicly. So maybe he just didn't care about the PR stuff and he was just like, I can't accept this. I'm very upset about it. And so I don't know exactly. You know, we don't know exactly what factors went into the firing. We'd have to ask President Trump that question. But Tom Price is out as Secretary of Health and Human Services. So I want to get to, a couple people wrote me here, and yeah, if you have comments, write to me at on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. JC, one of our moderators, and thank you so much to the moderators for moderating the chats today. JC says, Steve, Paul Ryan is a cuck. Drain that swamp. Another one bites the dust. Trump train, hashtag Trump train, hashtag RSBN mod squad, at RSBN network, RSBN rocks. Thank you, JC, for writing in. Patriot of Truth says, what is Trump going to do with fake media? Can he fire them or buy their companies? No, he doesn't own those companies, so he doesn't own the fake media. He doesn't own the media companies, so he can't tell them what to do. Also, he can't buy those companies, at least as president, I would assume. You know, he can't buy all the media companies. So President Trump, like all presidents, will just have to deal with the media as it presents itself to him. See if we can get any more updates about this story here. The New York Times has a story up. I just want to see if they have any more details about this. Their story says, Health Secretary Tom Price resigns after drawing ire for chartered flights. So we know that detail already. Let's see. Resigned under pressure after racking up at least $400,000 in travel bills for chartered flights and undermining President Trump's promise to drain the swamp of a corrupt and entitled capital. So, you know, JC, our moderator, just wrote in and said drain the swamp. And the New York Times, it looks like, is with you, JC, and they're suggesting perhaps part of the reason Tom Price was fired is that, you know, President Trump promised to drain the swamp, and then he has one of his cabinet secretaries taking expensive chartered flights. And something worth pointing out is, from what I've read, it's not a case where Health and Human Services secretaries normally take these chartered flights. From what I have read, it was a break in precedent, and that normally speaking, a Health and Human Services secretary would fly commercial in a lot of these situations that Tom Price was flying on chartered aircraft. Also, or military aircraft. Also, during the press briefing, I think it was yesterday, it was clear the White House was not supportive of Tom Price in this. I remember, what was it? Yeah, I remember, you know, Sarah Sanders went out of her way to say, look, the White House did not approve these flights by Tom Price. So you got a feeling from the press briefing yesterday that the White House was not pleased with this and was not, you know, throwing their support behind Tom Price. And I actually personally thought it was very possible Tom Price would get fired tonight, but he ended up resigning. Now, did he resign because he knew he was going to get fired? I don't know. I leave it to you to to offer your opinions on that. Deplorable Alfredo, oops, I'm trying to do this. This is what I'm trying to do. Deplorable Alfredo said, hey, can we go back and check flight cost of people in the Obama administration since this is such a big issue? I'm not familiar with any of those flights. If there's expensive flights in the Obama administration from their cabinet secretaries, I'm guessing somebody will do research now and it'll come out. Thank you for writing in, Deplorable Alfredo. Ryan Rowley writes in, Price failed on health care, which probably made the president pissed. At with his charter flights, he deserved to go. So you think, Ryan, that perhaps President Trump was already unhappy with Tom Price over health care not getting through Congress? Brandon Reynolds says, I don't get why it's such a big deal. If I was a government official or any politician, I would fly private as well. Well, the big deal is, it's that, when it comes out that you could have saved money, it's this thing where the president, if he's asking people, say, to take some people to have more expensive health care, it's hard in a PR way for him to also say, but we're okay with the Health and Human Services Secretary spending more money than we need to be on flights. So it's very tough PR for the president. And also, the president seemed genuinely upset at this. The president, maybe, I don't doubt that the president, doesn't want the government to waste money. He spoke a lot about wasting money during the campaign and keeping government small. And so I could definitely see it. I see it as consistent with a lot of remarks the president has made in the past, that he would be upset to hear that Tom Price was spending money from the taxpayers that wasn't necessary to be spent. That's just how somebody might respond, Brandon, but I respect your view. I thank you for writing in. Cindy Lopez writes in, this kind of waste of our tax dollars has gone on for many administrations. Glad Trump will try to stop it. And yes, Obama people did this. I will say this, something I was thinking about this. This is a case where, and obviously the left likes to criticize President Trump, but to me this is a case where President Trump acted very fast to address a complaint that many people had, including people on the left, but also people on the right. But, these Tom Price stories came out. I didn't see President Trump try to defend Tom Price. From the start of his public statements on this, President Trump said he was upset about it. He said he would look into it. And then he said he was going to decide whether to fire Tom Price or not. Now, Tom Price resigned, but perhaps he was told he was going to get fired. But, all told, from the time this came out till the time Tom Price was fired, was resigned, was not that long. And the president certainly did not sit there for several weeks and say, I support Tom Price, and try to defend it at all. So, and he could have. So, I think this does not, this whole episode certainly does not show that President Trump is blindly loyal to everybody who works for him and will support them no matter what. Actually, he very quickly said, I don't approve of this, and said, I'm going to consider firing Tom Price. So, this is, I don't think, if people wanted quick action on this, I don't think you could have expected, a more quicker Tom Price no longer being health secretary than happened. I mean, it wasn't going to happen literally the day after the story came out. So, I just think it's... That I think from a neutral view, this is not a case where President Trump tried to protect people around him from when complaints were coming in, especially from a large part of this complaint was from people on the left, although there were definitely people on the right too. But this was not, even though a lot of the left was complaining about this in addition to people on the right, President Trump certainly did not go out of his way to defend Tom Price, which I found interesting. I Stand with Trump says, Tom Price was also close with James Comey too. It is doubly good that he has resigned. So we are here, we're covering the story that Health Secretary Tom Price has resigned in the aftermath of this, I don't want to say scandal or uproar, because I think among some people it was a scandal or uproar. It certainly to me wasn't among all people. I've heard different opinions on this, but certainly a lot of people were upset about Tom Price taking expensive chartered and commercial and military flights instead of flying commercial for a number of trips during his tenure. And President Trump had said that tonight he was going to consider whether to fire Tom Price, but he just resigned. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting, and if you want, we're taking your comments on this story. Write to me at Lookner on Twitter, at LOOKNER. Feel free to follow me as well if you like breaking news stuff. I cover breaking news a lot on my Twitter. You can follow Right Side Broadcasting at RSB Network. And if you do like this coverage, if you like that, hey, when something like this happens, you don't have to watch on Fox or CNN or MSNBC and get a broadcast heavy with agenda. We are agenda free here. We don't tell you what to think. And also we try to discuss things calmly and in depth and not with people yelling at each other. If you like that coverage, please consider making a donation because we are viewer supported. We are a very small company. We rely on your donations to stay on the air. So if you like our coverage, please consider donating. You can donate by going to the YouTube chat right next to the broadcast and going to the bottom of that YouTube chat and clicking the dollar sign there, the little dollar symbol. Or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell if you'd like to get updates about when our videos are coming on the air. They come at all times. Last night we came on the air to cover the Mumbai Stampede. I think it was 4 in the morning Eastern time. So we come on at all times to cover the news when it happens. Wisconsin Trump girl says, Trump was livid and I bet everyone else read the Riot Act. Trump hates government waste. No repeal and replace didn't help him either. Going to check, see if I can get any more updates here about this story. We have a copy of Tom Price's resignation letter that I'm going to show you. Albo Breaking News posted this. Okay, I'm going to have to... Jerry OOOG just made another donation. Thank you, Jerry, for your support. We really appreciate it. That's really kind of you. So here's the Tom Price resignation letter from Albo Breaking News, and I will read it to you. It says, Dear Mr. President, it is an honor and privilege to serve you as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Under your leadership, the department is working aggressively to improve the health and well-being of all Americans. This includes, let me just make sure this is, this includes working to reform a broken healthcare system, empower patients, reduce regulatory burdens, ensure global health security, and tackle clinical priorities such as the opioids epidemic, serious mental illness, and childhood obesity. I have spent 40 years both as a doctor and public servant putting people first. I regret that recent events have created a distraction from these important objectives. Success on these issues is more important than any one person. In order for you to move forward without further disruption, I am officially tendering my resignation as the Secretary of Health and Human Services effective 11:59 p.m. on Friday, September 29th, 2017. You may rest assured that I will continue to support your critical priorities going ahead because failure is not an option for the American people. Yours truly, Thomas E. Price, MD. So that is the resignation letter from Tom Price. You're watching Right Side's live coverage of Tom Price's resignation. First cabinet secretary to resign, and is he the first? Well, see, I don't think General Flynn was in the cabinet. I don't think National Security Advisor is a cabinet position technically. So, I don't think. Let me look that up. It's this technical question. Is National Security Advisor, in the cabinet? You would think there'd be an easy answer to this question, but I can't. I'm seeing lots of articles here. Anyways, I'll have to look that up. If he is in the cabinet, well, Wikipedia says he or she is usually not a member of the government's cabinet. So, anyways. Okay, let me see if I can get you more updates. Sahil Kapoor of Bloomberg posted this tweet. He said, Tom Price had a bright future in the House. He chaired the Budget Committee, the RSC, I don't know what the RSC is off the top of my head, and Republican Policy Committee, well liked by Republicans. So Sahil Kapoor is saying that Tom Price maybe gave up a promising career. Well, it was a promising career in the House to be Health and Human Services Secretary. Could he run again one day? I don't know enough about the situation to know that. Because Greg Gianforte won the special election for Tom Price's seat. So could Tom Price, I mean, the next election is in 2018. Could he just run again? He could. I mean, would he? Ryan Rowley says Seema Verma should be his next HHS secretary. I think Seema Verma is the head of the Medicaid and Medicare, head of Medicaid and Medicare organization, whatever it's called. Seema Verma is an American health policy consultant and the current administrator for the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services. That's Seema Verma. So interesting suggestion, Riley. Maybe that's Ryan. That's who President Trump will choose. If you guys have any other thoughts on this, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We are covering the resignation of Health Secretary Tom Price. And you can, if you enjoy this video, we would love if you liked it on YouTube and shared it on Facebook. We're so small we can't even afford to advertise. But when you share the video on Facebook and you like it on YouTube, that helps spread the word about the videos. So we'd love it if you did that. And also, since we're so small, it's always a challenge to stay on the air. Your donations are what keeps us on the air. So if you like our broadcasts, please consider donating. Even a small donation really helps us out. No donation is too small. You can donate by going to the YouTube chat room and clicking on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat next to the broadcast, or going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. One other quick thing. I thank you to our new patrons. We have a Patreon page, which is a page where you can sign up to get free stuff like this Right Side mug in exchange for monthly donations. So if you're interested in getting free Right Side stuff in exchange for making a monthly donation, you can go to rsbn.tv/donate and you can learn about that there. And thank you again to the moderators for moderating the chats today. In the YouTube chat, we have JC, Real Frank, and Guinevere, and Jude, and Ron Miller. They are all there. And send me messages, send me comments if you have comments on Tom Price's resignation, at Lookner on Twitter. And Ryan Rowley just gave me a heads up. I just saw this news that the State Department just announced U.S. will admit up to 45,000 refugees during fiscal 2018. And I believe, if I'm remembering right, I believe that is lower than in previous years. Let me just do a search. I might have to do a new stream for this. Let's see. I don't know. I'm not sure. This is the 45,000 limit on refugees is the lowest any White House has sought since 1980. Okay. All right, we might do another stream on that. I want to focus on Tom Price right now. But that news just came in, said that they set that's their limit for 45,000 refugees during fiscal 2018. Thank you, Ryan, for letting me know. I'm just checking for any other information about Tom Price here. Wisconsin Trump girl said, I think it's time for the president to order a review of all government travel, including Congress. Much abuse. Didn't President Trump order some kind of review? Am I remembering that wrong? I know, well, let me see if I can find this. Or they had said that no one can take private planes, or, you know, I did hear Sarah Sanders in the press briefing say something like, well, you know, Tom Price's flights were not subject to White House review, but we're working on changing that procedure. So maybe that procedure will be changed. I'm not sure how it works in the different departments, but maybe the White House will try and change that. So I am not sure. I'll have to do a little more research on that. All right, I think we are going to wrap up this stream in a moment here. And I will look at that refugee story as well. Timothy Bonzar wrote in, notice how under Trump, bad behavior is weeded out, unlike past administrations where they bury and hide it. This is what Americans want. Old Guy 1947 writes in, how much was spent during President Obama's term on private flights? A bunch, I would speculate. Okay, so I think at this point, we are going to wrap up this stream right now. I will look into that refugee story and also any other stories that happen today. You know, we will come on the air with breaking news when it happens. Hey, and what I want to ask you guys is, so we had this background, this new background, which we kind of like, but maybe I can ask the chat to give me a quick feedback, real-time feedback right now. It was originally going faster, and we slowed it down a bit. And it's, you know, I just want to let you know, I just want to see, is the slowed down version okay with you guys? Or did you like it faster? Somebody was saying it looked a little fast, and we were thinking, yeah, maybe it looks a little fast. So we slowed it down a bit, and just wanted to make sure that was okay with you guys. Let me know if you have any feedback on that. Shane Guiri just gave €5. Thank you so much, Shane. That's really kind of you. We very much appreciate it. We will put that towards staying on the air and bringing you more news. I am just going to give it a second, because when I ask a question, it takes a couple seconds. Let's see. 1.618 says they like the background at the speed it's going. Cindy's on board. Wasurinade says make it go the other way for the right side news. I can't do that at all. It's going to my right. Miss Rob Mob likes it. Light switch says faster. So we have one vote for faster. It's hard, you know, you speed it up and then some people don't like it, and you slow it down and some other people don't like it, so. But as of right now, I think we're going to leave it at the speed it is. But thank you for the real-time feedback, folks. Just going to give it a second to see if there's more feedback here. Cameron Vick says the speed is perfect. Okay. Oh, I forgot to check my email. Thank you, Jude. Now, I totally forgot, although I don't see anything in my box in my email. I know why. I see. Okay, I was looking at the wrong box. Joella Ruggiero, first of all, says, taking a government plane or chartering a plane from the government is a big deal. Wouldn't Tom Price have to get permission to do this? And who would he get permission from? Thanks, Joella Ruggiero. Love your show. Thank you, Joella. Very good question. So, you know, I don't know the procedure. If they didn't have to get it approved from the White House, maybe, I mean, I'm sure he had to ask for the plane, but I don't know if he had to get approval from anybody, given that he was the head of the department. So I don't know how that works. It's a good question. I'd like to, maybe I'll be able to research it and find out more. Greg Jackson writes, is this the shakeup we read about that was coming? More and more I'm getting disillusioned with Trump, considering who he is leaving in power. Who could that be, Greg, that you're thinking about? Who is it, Greg? I can think of a couple people you might be thinking, but I don't want to put words in your mouth. Christine Bestjen said, didn't the travel office approve those flights? Aren't they the ones responsible for the discretion? Can you look into that, please? And thank you. Good question, Christine. It's similar to Joella's question. I need to do some more research on this. I don't know the exact procedure there in the Department of Health and Human Services and in other departments as to who exactly approves this travel. But as the White House said, it was not the White House. American Patriot, thank you for posting a link to this broadcast. Much appreciated. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap this up here now. Let me just do one more quick check and make sure I'm not missing any news that came out in the last few minutes. In terms of this story, at least. And Jason Clement just gave $5 Canadian. Thank you, Jason. He says, keep it real, RSBN. Canada needs to know the truth, too. Thank you, Jason. And this story, again, it just broke. President Trump formally sets refugee admissions to the U.S. in fiscal year 2018 at 45,000, down from 110, it's supposed to say 1,000, set for 2017 by President Obama. I think it's 110,000 because it's not 11,000, so it's 110,000, but that's from Mark Knoller. So I'll look into that story. But for now, this has been Right Side Broadcasting's live coverage of the resignation of Health Secretary Tom Price. And thank you for joining us, everyone. Thank you for watching, and thank you for all of your comments that you sent in. Thank you to all the moderators in the chat. Really appreciate all you, and the website chat too. Really appreciate all your hard work all the time. And thank you for the donations. Of course, we appreciate the donations because those keep us on the air. You can donate at any time we're on the air in the YouTube chat room by clicking on the $ at the bottom of the chat, or going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. Subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you know when we're coming on the air with these live videos. Follow us on Facebook at Right Side Broadcasting. On Twitter, we're at RSB Network, and I am on Twitter at @Lookner. I will post breaking news around the clock, as I always do. But for now, thank you, everybody. Oh, somebody says, let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything here. I want to make sure I didn't miss a donation. That's what I want to make sure I didn't miss. I think I got all the donations. Okay, so, but thank you for joining me today, and thank you for joining Right Side Broadcasting. If there is big news, of course, later today, this evening, we will cover it for you. But for now, I am Steve Lookner, wishing you a good day, and we'll see you soon.